Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we dig into some really fascinating topics. Today, we're tackling something huge in the pharmaceutical world. The incredibly slow, really labor-intensive process of getting new drugs, new therapies to market. It's a massive challenge. And honestly, for patients waiting, it's often, well, it's literally a race against time. So our focus today, it's called Agentic AI. Now, you might have heard this term floating around, maybe in tech circles, but it's being talked about as like the next frontier in pharma R&D, especially for speeding up that really early stage, the discovery phase. Our mission here is to explore how this advanced AI is changing the game for finding drug targets and for something called high-throughput screening. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding this really critical innovation.
Exactly. And at its heart, agentic AI, it's about AI systems that do more than just, analyze data. The key thing, the real difference, is that they can take action autonomously. So imagine an AI that doesn't just process information and then wait for a human command. In drug discovery, these AI agents can actually pinpoint promising drug targets from, well, incredibly complex biological data.
Right.
And this is the crucial part. Without needing someone to step in, they initiate the next steps. Things like screening, validation workflows.
Yeah.
They're proactive.
Okay, proactive. That's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? It's not just automating one task. It sounds like intelligent, purposeful action that connects the dots across a whole process. And the impact of that, I mean, for everyone listening, think about the potential speed up in getting vital new medicines to patients. It's
Right.
huge.
It really is transformative. We're talking about potentially shaving years off development timelines.
So let's dig into that difference a bit more. Agentic AI sounds advanced, but how is it really different from the machine learning or, the basic automation labs might already use? Why wasn't that older AI enough for this early stage R&D stuff?
That's a great question. Because traditional AI, while useful, it has real limits in this kind of dynamic research setting. Usually it works with static data, right? Predefined models. You often need someone to manually trigger it, or it runs on a schedule. And tasks tend to happen in isolation. It doesn't really have a sense of the bigger picture or react instantly to new findings. It's good for repetitive things, but early research is rarely just repetitive.
Right, it's always evolving. New data comes in constantly.
Precisely. Agentic AI is designed for that. Think of it more like a system, a team of intelligent agents. These agents are constantly taking in and adapting to new research data as it appears. They don't just work off old info. And crucially, they collaborate. So one agent might be screening compounds, another validating results, maybe another handling the documentation, and they initiate actions based on what they find, hitting certain thresholds we set. It's kind of like mimicking parts of the human scientific process, but, at machine speed and scale.
Wow.
They do operate within carefully defined guardrails, obviously,
Yeah.
but they automate that whole loop, finding a target, validating it, not just tiny pieces.
That idea of automating the entire loop, that feels like the real jump. So let's talk about that first big application, finding drug targets. Historically, pulling promising targets out of all that biological data. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, right? A really complex, expensive haystack.
Absolutely. It's been a major bottleneck. Agentic AI changes this dramatically. It can analyze these massive multi-omic data sets, and just quickly, that means looking at everything together, genes, proteins, metabolites, to get a whole picture of the biology.
Which humans just can't do at that scale or speed.
Exactly. And from that complex picture, the AI can surface genuinely new drug targets that might have been missed. Then it intelligently scores these potential targets based on real-world indicators, not just theory. This helps cut down on human error in those early calls, and it speeds up what comes next, like planning optimization or even early clinical thoughts. Better decisions, faster.
Okay, so it's finding and ranking targets much more efficiently. Any real-world examples of this in action?
Yeah, a really good one is the work Salesforce is doing in life sciences. Their AI agents are analyzing just enormous amounts of data, terabytes of clinical and preclinical info to find potential drug targets. But then they autonomously run high-throughput screening simulations. It's not just finding, it's testing viability right away.
Simulations, okay, so virtual testing initially.
Right. And these agents collaborate, sharing outputs to refine the scoring and ranking. The impact. Decisions that used to take weeks, literally weeks, are now happening in hours.
Weeks to hours. That's astounding. What kind of bottlenecks just disappear when that happens? And how does it change the scientist's role? Because for anyone listening who's in R&D, this isn't just cool tech. It's about slashing that discovery timeline, but keeping everything accurate, traceable, compliant. That's the goal, right?
Absolutely. It frees up scientists from some of the most time-consuming, data-heavy tasks to focus on higher-level strategy, interpretation, and the next creative steps.
Okay, so we found promising targets much faster. Now we need to test actual compounds against them. This brings us to high-throughput screening, HTS. Can you briefly explain what HTS is for anyone maybe less familiar?
Sure. HTS is basically where labs test thousands, sometimes millions, of chemical compounds against a specific biological target, like a protein involved in a disease. They're looking for hits compounds that interact in a potentially useful way.
And traditionally, that's been super expensive and time-consuming, I imagine.
Hugely expensive, yes, and very time-consuming, often quite rigid, too. Agentic AI really shakes this up. It brings intelligent, adaptive automation to the whole process. For example, it can automatically pick the best tests or assays based on what's known already and the current goal. It can optimize the screening plan while it's running as new data comes in. Think real-time adjustments.
Ah, so it's not just set and forget.
Not at all. And crucially, using predictive models, it can weed out the compounds very unlikely to work before you waste resources testing them. Plus, it can coordinate all the physical stuff, the robotic systems, the cloud platforms, to run these massive screenings seamlessly.
So it's managing the whole workflow, physical and digital.
Exactly. It reduces costs, reduces false positives, and maybe even helps find hits that were missed before. It's a smarter way to do HTS.
Can you give us a concrete example, like walk us through how it might work?
Okay, let's say a team needs to test, I don't know, 100,000 compounds for a rare disease target, a huge number. Agentic AI could first analyze historical data and predict, say, the top 1,000 most likely candidates from that 100,000 pool.
Just 1,000 out of 100,000?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Then, instead of physically testing all 100,000, which is massively resource-intensive, it orchestrates the robots to test only those predicted top 1,000. And then any promising hits from that focused screening, they can be automatically routed to another AI agent for documentation and planning the next steps.
Wow, so much less waste.
Dramatically less waste, much faster cycles, and the whole discovery pipeline becomes more agile. You move from brute force to, well, precision targeting.
It really sounds incredibly powerful, which inevitably leads to the next big question, especially in pharma. What about compliance, security, all the regulations?
That's absolutely critical. You can't deploy this kind of tech in pharma without ironclad governance and compliance. These agentic AI platforms must adhere to all the strict rules, IKEA for patient privacy, GDPR, FDA Part 11 for electronic records, plus internal company standards for audits and data tracking. It's non-negotiable.
So how do they build that in? How do they ensure the AI stays within bounds?
Well, the leading platforms are designed with this baked in from the start. Take Salesforce's approach with Agentforce and Data Cloud, for example. They're built to handle this. You can set very clear boundaries for what the AI agents are allowed to do. They know their limits.
Okay, guardrails.
Exactly. And every single action the AI takes is recorded in an immutable audit trail. Complete transparency. Plus, the AI models themselves need to be explainable. You need to be able to understand why the AI made a certain decision, which is vital for regulatory checks.
Right, no black boxes.
No black boxes. And of course, all the sensitive data is handled within super secure enterprise-grade environments. The goal is to scale up the research power without compromising patient trust or compliance.
That's definitely reassuring. But I imagine keeping up with evolving regulations while the tech gets more complex is an ongoing challenge.
Oh, absolutely. It requires constant vigilance and partnership between the tech providers, the pharma companies, and the regulators.
So for a company listening, maybe they're intrigued but a bit intimidated. How do they even start? Do they have to jump in head first?
No, definitely not. A phased approach is the way to go. Makes much more sense. First step, maybe use agentic AI on your historical data. Look back at old trial results, maybe failed experiments, see if it uncovers anything new. It's low risk, proves the value.
Okay, start with the past. Makes sense.
Second, pick a non-clinical pilot project. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Focus on something contained, like maybe compound screening or even just summarizing research papers automatically or extracting data from lab reports.
Smaller, manageable chunks.
Exactly. Learn there, build confidence, show some tangible results. Third, and this is really key, define those guardrails clearly from the start. Get legal and compliance involved early. Design workflows that are safe and reviewable. Build that internal trust.
Get everyone on board early.
Yes. And finally, measure your success. Use real metrics. How much faster are you getting insights? What's the cost per compound screen now? Are the candidates better quality? Crack the tangible benefits. If you build that solid foundation, then AI adoption can scale up over time across more and more of the drug development process.
Okay, so bringing this all together then, the main message seems to be that agentic AI isn't just, another software tool. It sounds like a whole new way of working for that crucial early stage drug discovery in HTS. It's bringing speed, scale, and a kind of scientific depth that maybe wasn't possible before.
It's exactly right. It's that combination: intelligent automation, predictive power, and autonomous action. It lets R&D teams cut that time to discovery, lower costs, and importantly, improve accuracy, all at scale. It shifts the process from slow and linear to dynamic and optimized. It's about enabling better science, fundamentally.
So, a final thought for everyone listening, think about those ripple effects. If drug discovery, that very first stage, can genuinely be sped up this dramatically, what does that mean for human health over the next, say, 10 years? What new possibilities open up when that early research bottleneck is eased by these intelligent, autonomous agents? It's a future with potentially incredible breakthroughs. Thank you so much for joining us on this Dip Dive.